go. Good day, peeps. Welcome to Heart Talks. Today, my guest is Gia Combs Ramirez, and I'm really excited to have her on because, you know, I'm making this new website, and I've got an energy page there for all my network of sensitives. And Delia, as always, sent Gia over to me, and I checked out her YouTube that was sent to me, and I loved what you were doing, Gia. Thank you so much for taking time to be on the show.
Thank you, Sheila. I love the interaction that I have with the people who watch my new moon readings that I do once a month, and people are so wonderful to connect with them and hear what their comments are, or in this case, a fabulous connection. So I'm excited about what we're going to talk about today. Not that I know what it is, yet, neither do you.
We're just coming to the dining table and having a chit chat about what it turns out to be. Well, listen, you know, the energy right now is just spectacular. My sensitives and I are connected every day going, did you feel that? And we're just like, we're comparing, you know, physical symptoms, and there's something that's been going on lately that I've been calling the avatar effect. And it's and there was a number of us sensitives who did it at the same time. We had to lay down and go to sleep. And it reminds me of the movie Avatar when he comes out of that machine and the body just drops. And so I would like to hear your interpretation of what all is going on today. And please share those charts you make. Oh my gosh, those are so cool.
Oh, thank you. By the way, I call napping assimilation, because when the energy gets too intense, our brains just automatically shut down because we have to assimilate that. It's one of the main techniques that we can use. And so sometimes I'm like, it's 10 in the morning. I'm like, okay, I'm ready for my first assimilation nap, you know, but
Good.
Yeah, energies are very, very intense. I love that you approach it from this attitude of wow versus this bracing and like pushback, because it is a very challenging time for empathics with how much energy is swirling around. So one thing I want to invite all your readers to tune into is that I operate in a different energy system than I'll call it the classic or traditional electromagnetic system. So all the new kids on the planet, the crystallines, they already operate in that. And those of us who were born earlier than, say, 1980 are changing into that. I just call it a crystalline energy system. A lot of people have talked about the crystalline grids on the planet, but we have become, and all life is becoming, this crystalline structures that were within us, but it's a different shift. I'm so happy to be operating within the crystalline energy system. It doesn't have the downsides that the electromagnetic system has, which is, so electromagnetic system, when you're doing ascension or transformation, it can overload like electrical currents in a house that gets too much, and then all the circuits break. Your crystalline energy system it's got huge bandwidth. You can do tons of transformation very fast, very accelerated, without overloading the circuits, so to speak.
Right.
So anybody who's listening who might still be standing in the electromagnetic energy system, you can go to my website, scienceofenergyhealing.com, and there's a free activation that I offer for the crystalline energy system. But for now, for just listening to this, I want to invite everybody to kind of just imagine that they're stepping into that, I call it the new energy paradigm. Just take in your mind's eye, take one step here. connected up to it, and it'll help with the flow of energy and information that Sheila and I shared today. So I am an energy healer from way back. I went to massage school, but I was always chasing after the energy work and doing more and more subtle things. And then in 2004, I was in a meditation, and this protocol, like an energy app, downloaded into my awareness, and it eventually called crystalline consciousness technique. And it's taken me a while to kind of figure out what the heck it is. It's very advanced, but it was for these times after 2012.
Wow. Yes.
And so it's basically all about working with transformation. So that's my focus. How do we transform, which is grow, evolve, ascend, become enlightened. And it's not just humans, but Earth is evolving, of course, as well.
Right.
And my focus, as yours is on who we are as energy beings. So it's always energy first for me and form second.
Right.
I know this is familiar to many of your listeners, because we wouldn't be here listening if we weren't all about the energy.
That's right.
So right now on the state of the planet, the whole planet is going through, and more than just the planet, but sometimes like my awareness doesn't go any bigger than just this planet, is going through this huge transformation between the 26,000 year cycle that's rolling over into a new one. And it doesn't just roll over and stay the same. It's like a spiral where you're kind of familiar and back to where you were, but you're at a higher place. And that it's Earth with all of its systems. So it takes longer than just boom, one moment in 2012, December 21st, 2012. It's actually, it's actually like 27 years is one part of it, which ties in with the 3 phases of transformation. The first phase I call opening, which is opening to a new level. It's not opening energetically, when your consciousness opens to something new. And then the second phase is chaos. And that's actually a highly creative time. A lot of us have a negative response to the word chaos, but it's all about creativity, because all those old energy restrictions, belief systems, all those old things that kind of constricted us are released. And so it's a lot of swirling energy. And when we express ourselves creatively, we're ordering and organizing that energy. I love that there's like, where did this start from? All those coloring books that just boom, busted out virally. That is a creative outlet for people. And just doing it, they order and organize their whole energy fields while they're doing it. Yeah. So I use a different technique. I work in my crystal consciousness technique. I work with charts. We call them soul charts. I'll show you the one. This is the one.
They're so cool.
Yeah, this is the one. Like, never quite sure how to hold it up.
There we go.
I did this one for the month of July, and I don't know why I haven't done them before for the new moon readings, but this was the intuition, like, it's going to get really intense. Bring in, so the regular chart are those beautiful 7 circles. And then I did some work on it and added the sacred geometry shapes of the dual tetrahedron, or what we call this particular, we call the tetrahedron pure essence. It's all about the light and about core and essence. What's really of importance. And so this is I've used these charts forever, and I'll show you some of my other ones, but it was the first time I did it in this way. I'm still kind of learning, like, what the heck? Okay, I did it, but now what do I do with it?
Well, that's that creative expression. I mean, and especially for artists right now, we're just like going crazy. I've done my yard. I've redone everything in my yard because I just needed to express one more way.
Yeah, absolutely. We can. And that's a little, when we're in the amount of free energy, like free radicals, but it's free energy, unordered energy right now, it so unleashes the creative expression. And it's almost like you can see a bazillion things to do, but it's not ordered and organized by time, for example. And so that gets a little like, oh, which one do we start with first? Oh, you know, we almost spin out with all the possibility and potential that's there. And it's I was just reflecting on this morning, like all the stuff that's happening out in the world. It's like we are being really invited to just focus on ourselves, and to those, especially those of us who are empathic, is to not tune into, I mean, obviously if something has happened to a dear loved one near you, you're going to feel grief and so on and so forth. Right. But we can't feel for, you know, if it's outside your arena, so to speak, you have to almost say, you know, this is outside my arena. I have to focus just on myself.
I absolutely agree. I don't think that can even be stressed enough, that if you are truly intent on raising your vibration, if you are not associated with the violence out there, I was told it is my job to be the light for those who cannot be at this time.
Yes. It's harsh to kind of say, especially to the empathics and the healers.
I know.
To say you have to stop caring at that level.
I know.
You literally can't. You have to keep focus on yourself and your expression and your love and your light, and just ignore the rest. And actually ignoring it is it seems so logical, but ignoring actually doesn't feed into it.
That's
and
right.
When we fall into this, oh my goodness,
yes.
It feeds into those energies.
Absolutely.
So I'm with you. If it's not in your immediate sphere, stay in your heart and keep finding your creative expressions, bring out in the world.
Absolutely.
So let me show you some of my other charts. This June, I have a group from Crystal Consciousness Technique. My teachers come, and we always do where I live on the Dumjay Ranch. It's my laboratory for these energy techniques that we do, because they're not just for healing humans. They're also for healing land. And so I'll show you the big Kahuna chart. It's sort of like showing you the end of the novel or something, but let me back up.
Oh, look at that.
So obviously that's the flower of life. And I just want to give a shout out to my artist. And she was also with me in the meditation when this energy app or healing protocol downloaded, Lexi Sundell. And she painted these, I call them finally sacred geometry, you know, nature shape. So we work with sacred geometry in a couple ways. And we each took a different section of the ranch, and this was the one that we used to charge all of these soul charts. So here's one. This will look familiar. That's the same one. It's the seed of life. And this was not one of the land clearings. I forget what this is. The students of, this was for some classes that I was doing. So this is another one. They're all my favorites. They're like my children. Oh, this one's my favorite.
Yes.
This one, this great tree represents, you know, like the tree, the world tree. It can represent a person. It can represent a group. It just has beautiful applications that we.
I don't know if you can see my photo over there. See where the tree is coming from the ground.
Oh, we so love trees.
Yes.
One of the things that I've noticed here So since I've started using this as my laboratory here, of course, we have all of our plants, and some people are drawn to work with them. And then we have our horses and our dogs and so on and so forth. And I've used crystal consciousness technique both with plants and animals. And it's like their consciousness really awakens. And so, and this has obviously happened in other places as well. It's not just unique to here, but it's, we talk through what I call the crystalline energy field. So we have a crystalline energy system within us, but then we can, I guess, telepathically communicate so easily. The field is very clear and clean versus when you're going into like electromagnetic field. Oh my God, there's so much glunge and it's too overloaded anymore. And so it's like one of those transformers in a third world country and everybody's tapped into it. So it's got all these wires and stuff. We live in a very, very connected world. And this provides a new way to still stay connected, but it's so clear. So we regularly do healing with horses. We have a class coming up in August. And the horses have become the teachers. So over about 6 years that I've been working with them, they have received the activations that we do in these classes. And then they're just like, okay, this is fine. You just translate for us and we're going to be the teachers in this. So it's so much fun. And then the same thing, last year we had one day in our gathering where it's like, all right, everybody go pick a tree and go communicate with that tree and see what you come back with. And so when they came back, and then it was really important to me to know which tree they were talking to. And as they did, I realized, oh, I know that tree. Like as a kid, I knew all these trees personally without realizing I was communicating with each one. And so it was a really fun, it's such a wonderful way to work. And we have done this now, doing these energy techniques, clearings and so on, using the crystal consciousness technique method on the, I don't know, we've done it maybe for 6-7 years now. We can really see the progression of how the land, and of course it doesn't just stop at our boundary, right? It reverberates out into the rest. We live in a canyon. So it goes out beyond. There's been bug infestations that have self-corrected. So we work with the insects and we work with the microbes. We work with all those things that, you know, besides the elements, earth, air, water. This year, our air element, I don't know if it's out of balance or it's in balance. You know, it's just, it's not normal. We usually never get wind because we lie east-west and the wind blows north-south. The wind has been blowing now for almost 2 months, east-west. And it, to me, I think this is, has something to do with what's going on in the sun. There's some big, huge opening in the sun and it's been blasting out, you know, sun winds, so to speak, and that's been affecting us. I look at 3 levels when I'm working. There's the individual level. We're like antenna for everything, right? And then there's the group level. And when CCT, Crystal Consciousness Technique, first came in, I was very excited because the one thing I knew about it was this is something we'll be able to use with groups. And it's taken a long time for us to actually be ready to work with groups, but it's definitely there. And then the 3rd level is the systems level. And that's when we're doing our earth work. We're working at the level of systems. So, you know, we know that term ecosystems, but every human has a system, you know, and you look at humans and all their different systems, they're just all crashing into each other on the planet. And so we're trying to find, you know, those systems are trying to find some harmony and coherence in existence. So anyway,
can I ask you what is your take on the chemtrails and how do you think those are affecting?
And stop and think about that. That's a really great question. The chemtrails are definitely associated with those, I just call them the elite, those who are trying to control Earth,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, life on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think this big shift that we're in is about Earth speaking like, yeah, no, I'm the big kahuna here. It's either, you know, get on board with me or get off. And so to me, it's the outcome is known. In other words, Earth will prevail in breaking these human and I think non-human energies that have been trying to control her and the resources that she represents.
Mm-hmm.
So the chemtrail is part of those groups who want to control humans, from awakening or from, I never look too strongly at it, because I work with the forces of light, and we're all about increasing light and love on the planet.
Mm-hmm. You know, we got a message from the Sasquatch people, and they said that unlike you guys, we still see the blue sky. Okay, and I have a real issue with the chemtrails, and I'm trying very hard to find my balance so that I'm not living in fear about it, and it just, you know, I love Mother Earth so much right now. It's just appalling, and so I just wanted to see what, like, you know, when you're out there in your beautiful land, and what do you just ignore it? Do you see?
We don't have them here.
Really?
Montana. But one of the best guys about chemtrail, of whose name I will not be able to pick out just a minute, I believe he lives in Washington, and I watched some of his stuff, and like, oh my God. And I was in Joshua Tree, I don't know how many years ago, I'll just say 10, and they had a lot of chemtrail stuff going on over Joshua Tree, and because the crystal consciousness technique works with sacred geometry, I brought in some, we call them healing chambers. So I brought in some huge healing chambers around the Joshua Tree Retreat Center that we were at, and the sky cleared up like that.
Right.
And it was notable, and everybody who was like there with me were like, oh my God. So we are energy beings. We can counter, you know, HAARP is another one. Oh my goodness, when British Columbia had the Winter Olympics and all their snow melted, and the HAARP stuff coming out of China at British Columbia was, I could feel it all the way here. That was really difficult for me.
Yes.
But a lot of the techniques that I have developed are to protect our empathic sensitivity, and out and beyond to protect the land that we are a part of. Like I said, I think the issue isn't, are we going to mush Earth? The issue is, are we going to wipe humans off the planet? Because that's what it would come down to, is Earth would hit the reset button, and the next time she would evolve without the human animal, you know, that's affecting so much. Right. So it's, you know, we're learning to be co-creative with her. It's a process. And something I really want you to remember, and everybody else who listens to this, is that we're in a time in transformation. We have that quickening, that lifting, you know, all of us who are tuning in 2012, we were quickening and lifting as phase one. And then in the next phase, which becomes that chaotic one, what needs to release or shift out lifts up and out through our awareness. So a lot of this stuff that's happening on the planet, it's what's lifting out. It's not becoming bigger, it's actually lifting out. And as it lifts out through our awareness, we have the chance to really understand why that's detrimental, or understand the damage that's been going on or the stuff that's been going on behind the scenes. So it's lifting out. It's just very uncomfortable while it does. But if you remember there, your energy just shifted really nicely from that perspective of, oh, a lot of this stuff is coming into our awareness so it can lift out as we collectively decide our future. All
right.
So,
okay, so now
you had a nice shift with that.
Here's a population of people having this all come out. I think we can probably understand why there is anger and anxiety and you know, people are you know, I want them to know that this is happening, and how can we tell them how to deal with that?
I don't have, so where the crunch places of conflict is between those who are beginning to awaken to who they really are versus those who don't want them to awaken. Like, give us your power and we'll take care of you is the old energy paradigm message. And the new energy paradigm message, it's really about the awakening, being self-responsible. And the one thing that I think everybody needs to learn and understand is about their energetic nature. And you just start with wherever you want to, but understand that there is a new energy system on the planet, and that you just have to look to all the kids or young adults up to the millennials, as they call them. They do things differently, and it's for a reason. You know, so the Aquarian values, you know, we're in that big shift.
Yes.
Of what is it they say, shifting from the love of power to the power of love.
Yes.
Those are part of it. But it's difficult because as we awaken, we become more sensitive, we become more aware, and it just feels like we get smacked down. And it's not just happening to people who are newcomers. It's happening to some of the old masters on the planet who are masters in the old energy paradigm. I have a lovely woman who's been working with us, and she has 2 yoga retreats that she's coming to do, and she's been going through hell.
Wow.
And she's a master at leading retreats and yoga and everything. And it's like, oh, when I look at it, it's like it's her own personal transformation.
Okay, we just had to go with part 2 here. Ran out of recording time, so we're going to just start off where we left off. Do you remember where we were leaving off?
I totally lost that train of thought. That's so funny. But getting cut off is a beautiful illustration of how, and then getting us connected back up again. This interruption is very common, what we're doing. And so if we think of ourselves in our creative flow being a river, and all of a sudden a big boulder comes up, which is out of the old energy paradigms, and we just have to find a way to flow around. Don't get frustrated. Don't get, you know, like, rah! You just find a solution and just keep going with the flow as best as you can, because that is the times, the systems, we're going to be going through a lot of system failure, I guess I would use, because the systems themselves are changing out. And so it does feel like an eternal Mercury retrograde anymore. It's like,
it does, doesn't it? As soon as you get into the recording world, man, it's just Mercury all the time.
It is. You're just so pleased when you get one little tiny thing done. It's like, yay!
We did it!
As energy masters, we use our energy, right, to really express and manifest in the world. And yet when you live in a world that's fully chaotic, full on chaotic, then so let's look at another chart.
Okay.
This one is familiar to many people. It's the Tree of Life.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, my camera, there we go.
There we go.
It's the Tree of Life. We use it, of course. All of these charts are calibrated to the crystalline energy system, the crystalline energy grids, and then our newest chart. We'll see if this can show up. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. There.
Oh, yes, I see. Yes.
It can't, my camera can't decide what to focus on. Now I'm going to pull it back. Keep going. Good. Yeah. It's this, we're working with the golden rectangle and the golden spiral. Right. And the golden rectangle has all those beautiful little, come on camera. Sorry, it'll refocus here in a sec. There we go. The golden rectangle has these beautiful little sections in it, and you can draw a perfect golden spiral in it. And if you think of that, you're working with the parts to the whole. And so we get all this fragmenting going on and being able to work so that we can connect all of our different parts into this coherent whole. And we just, normally Earth does that for us, but she's busy. She's busy right now trying to evolve some humans and all the rest of life on the planet. So, all right, so we were talking about chemtrails, and then we were talking about what can people do.
Okay, and let's talk about the energies that are coming so that we can prepare people a little bit.
Well, that stopped me.
I mean, because it's just going to get stronger.
Yeah, so in my work, once I learned about the 3 phases of transformation that we all go through, sorry for my computer camera's like, should we look at her aura, or should we look at her face, or should we look at the mountains behind her? Yeah. It's like, focus on me. No. I don't know if getting closer would help or not. Here we go. We're going to get up close and personal. So once I began studying the 3 phases of transformation, which much to my delight, I work with different names: opening, chaos, mastery. Mastery is the 3rd phase. That's when we've popped into our new level of transformation. Once I realized, these are innately built in. For a long time, I didn't realize what the heck I was working with. I just used it and watched for the results, I have a healer background, so I look, okay, are people healing,
Right.
And well, then I began seeing those 3 phases in everything. When I first started teaching classes, the first class always had that opening energy, that first phase energy of the quickening. Everybody was excited. And then the second class was always chaotic. It was like herding cats. And then the 3rd phase was like, ba-bam, everybody got it in like 5 minutes. It was just, and I was like, wow. Then I started looking at, well, does this apply out in years? And I sort of developed my own little calendar. CCT originally came in 2004, which I thought was such an odd year. Why not 2001? Or why not, or 2012? So I started to map out those 3 phases, and it mapped out perfectly to mastery in 2012. So then I was like, well, then what happens? Okay. So what I realized was I had to look at it all from a perspective of 9 years. 2004 to 2012 was actually 9 years. So I looked at the next 9 years, starting 2013 to 2021 or something.
Right.
So because we started a whole new cycle of 9 years, the whole 9 years is chaos, right? And so right now, this year, 2017 and 2018 are the worst chaos years. Next year is the absolute peak of it. Everything from systems to groups to individuals are in chaos. Or heightened creativity, if you don't like the word chaos. You want to look at it in its positive potential. We could end up discovering how to cure cancer, or
new technologies.
Yes, incredible new technologies that will be how to regenerate these places on Earth that we have absolutely devastated, right? How to regenerate them. And because it's all in the crystalline energy, it can regenerate very, very quickly. So it could be like the most fantastic year ever. Or we could all move to a different country, depending on who we elect. Here in the United States, there's no place to hide.
I'm getting my passport ready.
Yeah. I have another home in Mexico, by the way. Come on down, Sheila. So it's, and by the way, I don't usually like to get into politics. It's a little volatile, the subject. But I want to tell you, Hillary.
Volatile or very silly?
Yeah.
Depending on.
Yes. Hillary, oh, it's raining. I'm so happy.
Oh,
that's a blessing.
Nice.
Oh, Sheila, your energy is such a blessing to me. I want to tell you.
Oh, yeah.
So Hillary Clinton, who is, when I look energetically into January 27, I see her as the elected official. We all still need to vote no matter what, but because nothing's written in stone in the future. But I'm like, oh, it's hard to get excited about her, and for myself personally. And I sort of looked at it from like, well, who does Earth want? Who helps Earth evolve in her transformation? And the truth is, it is Hillary, because her energy is very stabilizing. Like, we're not going to move forward too much as a country in our evolution, but that's okay. We've got too much chaos going on anyway. So we need stabilizing right now. And, you know, with everything she's been hammered with, you know, from Benghazi to her emails, like, what, really? We got stuck on the emails? Like, okay, she was kind of dumb about it, but no breach really happened. So what's the deal? For heaven's sakes, the NSA was breached, you know? But anyway, we spent a lot of time and money on emails. And if you know, she's pretty unflappable. She just keeps, they call her Teflon, you know, but it's that stabilizing energy that she keeps. So whatever kind of chaos we're in as a world, in the next 4 years, she's actually going to be fairly good at, come on, little computer.
Here we go.
Yeah, it's like, hello. I think it's our changing light in the background too. But
right.
Anyway, so that's kind of how I view her.
I've never heard that perspective before. Thank you for that.
Yeah. And like I said, personally, I'm like, ugh. But from an Earth perspective, I'm like, well, all right, we're going to see, you know, like, look at what she has stood up to. And she's so consistent.
Right.
With
so consistently her.
Yes. There she is.
Okay. So I can see in this perspective that you've just mentioned that would be better, because, you know, other choices might just add to the chaos instead of stabilize.
Yes. So if you look at Trump, where he loves to step in and whip everybody into mob mentality, which is just chaos on chaos on chaos. It's like, oh yeah, we don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
We've got enough of that going on in the world. I mean, obviously we don't, there's many reasons why we don't need that, but a candidate like that, a lot of the Republican candidates, for Republican candidates, I liked Jeb Bush, because his energy was also very, is very stabilizing, but boy, you couldn't hear him, you know, in the cacophony of chaos from the Republicans.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, that was a little bit of, you know, the political.
Right. And generally, I don't talk about that either, but we're talking about energy today.
Yeah.
And just to show a perspective of energy in that circus right there.
Yes.
Is It's all energy.
It's all energy. There's no, it's always there. I approach everything from energy first. If the energy isn't there, I don't care how great it looks on the surface. I don't, I'm not interested. The energy has to be there. And that's about us moving into our essence, our core, not our, when we're born in the world, we're so in our core and connected to our divine nature. And then as we grow up, we're socialized and we're, pushed this way and formed that way. And it's not us. It's what we use to operate in third dimension Earth. But this is really about coming to know right now, who are we? And in the core, it's like going into the center of a storm, right? The storm of chaos is all around us. I think it's my hands that's throwing the computer off. I'll try to keep them still. In the middle of every spiral is an eye. And it's this, each of us has it, everybody has it in a slightly different place, but there is an eye that is our connection with the divine. And we uniquely express the divine in all of its, whatever your terminology or word is for it, right? Mm-hmm. And it's about that. It's about exploring ourselves as unique expressions of the divine. And if we do that, we'll stay very centered, we'll stay in our core, and we'll have amazing miracles happening. I've just seen incredible things going on in my little corner of the woods. And then it ripples out, right?
My world, I have arranged my world so nicely. I don't let anything negative end anymore. And as I am rising, it just becomes easier.
Yes. It's a weird thing. If everybody else could get on the same page with me, the world would be perfect. It's all those other people who are like in frantic turmoil, I'm like, oh, please don't rain on my parade,
Oh my God.
But
one of my
represent what is possible for people. I call it Sacagawea. We're out in front of everybody.
That's right. I have 9 grandchildren that are watching, and I'll tell you what, it makes my job easier knowing that I have those little eyes watching, and that I would make choices that will be in accordance with their eyes, because they are bright stars.
They are stars. That's the whole crystalline. And you can see this light. The crystalline energy system automatically holds more light, which means they're all light. I don't want to say workers. That's that old, we were light workers in the old energy paradigm. They're the light players, right? And we all have that capacity to become that as well. And you can just see them. They just radiate light. And for me, my job, I have 2 grandkids who live here on the ranch, and my job is to use my skills, my energy skills, to help them. It isn't like they need to become anything. It's other than who they are, and to make sure, so those systems that they have to go out and work with, the school system and other systems like that, that can be a little gnarly for our youngsters. And so it's about managing that.
Hopefully in another generation or 2, each child will be just acknowledged for itself.
Yes.
And guided for that, in that direction of them, and not to blend in with the rest of the world. And I had my chance to raise my kids. I raised them with knowledge that they are who they are, and that they had a beautiful path before them. And I'm so grateful. They're in their 30s now, and I get to watch them blossom and use their good stuff. And it's just so wonderful to sit back and watch our younger kids and to, I mean, really just watch them and get to know them. They are whole already. They are who they are already. And what a beautiful place you've got there to not only raise your own kids, but to bring others there too. That's talk about your upcoming event.
So my next live event is Healing with Horses. It's August 12th through the 14th. And the horses have told us to shut up, except they're more polite, and let them do the teaching. So we help translate it. And we teach the crystalline consciousness technique protocol for animals. So it's a fantastic healing technique that you can use with any animal, not just horses. And they're working, like if you have animals, they work with your animals as they work with us. It's a really great thing. And it's an easy technique to learn. It's just all like, here, follow this protocol and you'll get great results, you know. Wow. But it's different every year. They are, and we have one horse. We thought he said goodbye to us last year, and he's still around. And we had a little demo, and his name is Cowboy, and he just butted into the demo. He let himself out of the corral. Oh my God, there was a little chipmunk right down there by my foot. Anyway, as we're talking about the animals.
Yeah.
So he let himself out of the corral and he walked right into the barn where we were doing the demo. And I was like, okay, then, welcome to the party. And Cowboy wanted to talk about transitioning, you know, this fear of death that we have and how to get over that. And he stayed around particularly for this summer to help deliver that message. So we're really looking forward. We always have a great time here on the ranch and with the horses. And you just step into this field of energy. You're so connected to Earth. And it's, you know, humans so easily disconnect from it. And that's a really harsh world on your senses when you're not connected to the planet. So we really enjoy our 3 days of respite. And for the horses, they've been taking out guests on their horseback riding all summer. So this is like their little spa retreat. And they're like, yeah, we love it.
Nice. Oh my goodness.
So we really enjoy we do it like once a year. And whoever shows up is meant to be there.
Nice. It's so nice that you have that land and are putting so much intention and purpose and you've got your, you know, you've gathered your people, you're making great energy there, and you're not doing that just for you, you're doing it for the whole planet. And I want to acknowledge what you are doing and thank you for that part, and especially because you're just like right over there from me.
I know. You're not right. I'm not right sure which direction. I know. I was so excited.
Actually come visit you.
Yes, you can. We would love to have you here, Sheila.
That would be wonderful. Well, listen, Gia, thank you so much. This has been everything and more that I'd hoped it would be. I'm going to have you there on my energy website page because I love what you have to offer, and then maybe we could do another report come August.
I would love that.
Oh, that would be great if we could have like a monthly report and keep everyone abreast. And you know, it is just so important that people realize that these changes are happening to them, and we want them to see them as growing pains, not as disease or illness or something.
Yeah, it's a natural part of the cycle of transformation, and when we can really have to amp up our trust, right, that okay, we are moving to a greater, better outcome. And this stuff is what's falling away. We can kind of relax, like when you learn to swim and you let the water support you versus fighting the water.
Oh my God. That is freedom right there.
Yeah.
Just to slow down and relax. And I've always been trained just to let those energies go through me. I've been doing grid work for years, and my training was to let that energy pass through me, because it was my light that was cleansing that dark energy. And there's a whole nother show right there.
Yes, there is. Thank you, Sheila.
Well, thank you. I love you. Come see me again in August and we'll do another good share.
All right, fellow kindred spirits.
All right. Thank you. From my heart to yours, peeps. Namaste.